Good morning. It is a great day, great Liberty morning to be here back home in Desoto. I'm honored to be here today. I also want to give thanks to our great mayor in the city, Mayor Proctor, who's done a great job, uh, really turning our city around. Um, One of the things that Mayor Proctor talks about is DeSoto rising, and I think that's a very good slogan to use, and also I think it's something we could use for us, for United States America rising. But thank you, Mayor Proctor. Job well done in our city. This morning, I want to focus on restoring the American dream. When I was growing up, we had a great president, a president by the name of Ronald Reagan. In his 8 years in the White House, Reagan brought back a sense of pride in our nation. He brought back a sense of patriotism that this country needed badly. The nation at the time had high unemployment, high gas prices, the Iranian hostage crisis. Does that all sound familiar? We're seeing some of those same things happening today. What this nation needs is another Ronald Reagan. During the last year, many people have called me a 2000s version of Ronald Reagan. And while I'm flattered by the comparison, and President Reagan and I share many of the same beliefs, there is only one Ronald Reagan. President Reagan often talked about patriotism. He felt it was important, as well as I do. A rebirth of our nation's patriotism starts in our schools. Our schools must return the pledge and prayer to the classrooms. For it's this that is the basis for patriotism and returning of pride in our nation. Now, I talked about Mayor Proctor, and both of us share a civics teacher by the name of Bill Hickey. He helped instill in both of us a sense of patriotism, a sense of giving back to one's community. He taught you to believe in your government, and while he was different from a different party, he never tried to push his agenda on his students. Never did in all the years I had him in class. Our nation needs more Bill Hickeys. We must elect leaders who do not endorse or support critical race theory. We must elect leaders that are against the liberal, progressive agenda of the Democratic Party. You know, one of my favorite TV shows is West Wing. I love that show. Remember that show? Rob Lowe played the character Sam Seaborn. Well, in one of the episodes, they're talking about a appropriations bill, talking about education, matter of fact. And I'll quote this line from the show. Again, this is Rob Lowe talking, Sam Seaborn. Education is a silver bullet. Education is everything. We don't need little changes. We need gigantic, monumental changes. Schools should be palaces. Competition for the best teachers should be fierce. They should be making six-figure salaries. Schools should be incredibly expensive for government and is absolutely free of charge to its citizens, just like national defense. Now think about that line, just like national defense. If you think about it, our schools are our national defense, for it's in our classrooms. Think about it, even down to kindergartners, even pre-K, that's our nation's future. We must invest in our nation's future, and that begins in the classrooms. The Democratic Party of President Bartlett is nothing like the Democratic Party of today. Today's party is endorsing a far left agenda, something this nation does not need. does not need. When it comes to government spending, the Democrats want more government and entitlements. I'm for less government and the end of social welfare. During the last 2 years, our nation experienced a pandemic not seen in many years. Matter of fact, since the Spanish flu. And the many government assistance programs were put in place. They needed to be there at the time. Our economy was shut down. We needed to continue functioning as a government, as a country. But now our nation is seeing decreasing number of infections with COVID, and it's time for all of us to get back to work. Just the other day, I stopped by a local restaurant just down the road here. And as I went to open the door was locked. A sign simply said, closed for 1 hour due to staffing shortage. And just today, as we headed over here, I passed by a restaurant of that same chain, closed up. The staffing shortage and sometimes the restaurants not wanting to open up their dining areas has caused the demise of businesses. My friends, there are 10.2 million jobs available in our nation. It's time for us to go back to work. I've talked about the schools. They're still rebounding from the pandemic. Just this last week, the Washington Post talked about nationwide test scores that came out, talking about test point drops between 7 and 5% for math and reading. We learned a lot during the pandemic. We learned that remote learning, while valuable during the early days of the pandemic, does not have a place in today's classroom. The polarization we are seeing in our nation because of this pandemic must stop, and it must stop now. We must learn to respect each other once again, and each other's opinion. We've come so divided. Hatred has increased across our country. It's time for this to stop. My friends, in our nation's 245-year history, we have accomplished great things during national crisis, such as the pandemic. Mankind's greatest achievement was accomplished during the Vietnam War, the Apollo moon landing. We can once again achieve great goals during a pandemic, only if we come together as one. Let us start by respecting one another's opinion. Let's start out and reach out to our brothers and sisters and shake their hands. Let's once again become that nation that President Reagan has talked about so often, that shining city on a hill. In Matthew 5, verse 14, Matthew says, "You are the light of the world, like a city on a hilltop that cannot be hidden." My friends, in the word of Scripture, let us become what Matthew called the city on the hilltop that cannot be hidden. May God bless you all. May God bless our troops. And may God bless the United States of America. Thank you all very much.